blood. And soil. This is an important concept, I believe, because if you think about it, soil shapes a people. I mean, we literally are the soil. And the type of soil that a race has grown on defines that race. And each race has grown on a different kind of soil. You know, whether you be Native European, whether you be Arab, from the Congo, from Central America, East Asia, wherever, Aboriginal, the soil that you grow on defines you. And it leads to certain racial characteristics that vary amongst each respective race. And I think this is a lot, I think this separation of blood and soil is what has led to a lot of the ills, a lot of the bad things you see in the world today. Now, I'm an American, and I have Danish and English ancestry. So this soil, technically, it is not where I'm from. This soil here was once upon a time the Native American tribes that lived here in this area, predominantly the Cherokee. Now, one thing I've noticed, the Europeans who came across the Atlantic and settled here in North America, they tend to they attempted to try to find areas that reminded them of home. Here in Appalachia, you have a lot of Scottish and Irish. And I could imagine that this is similar because the people from Scotland, the area here in the Appalachians, the Highlands, reminded them of home. And we also have a significant amount of German people of German ancestry here. There's also a minority of those of Nordic ancestry. It seems like more, if you go up into the Midwest region of the United States, you find a lot more people of Nordic ancestry and German ancestry. Down in Appalachia, it's predominantly English, German, and Scotch-Irish. And there's also some a Nordic minority. Now, and I think this extends to other groups in Europe. You know, the Spaniards, they tended to settle areas of the American Southwest. Now, I'm not very familiar with any of the geography or the climate of Spain, but I would imagine it's got a Mediterranean climate, you know, kind of dry, warm, and that's kind of fitting for the American Southwest also. Now, and as I said earlier, I think the fact that we've been divorced from our soil, that has led to a lot of the ills in the world. You can look at the Native American tribes here in the United States and Central America. They are a tiny minority of what they used to be. And I think it came from the fact that they were being displaced from their soil. Now, you see this happening today. You see it happening to every race, honestly. It seems like, except for a tiny minority. And I won't have to describe to you that tiny minority. I'm sure you already know. It seems that all this civilization, us living in cities, a city is no one's native habitat, except for maybe a select few. It goes completely against, it goes completely against nature, living in a large city. It's disgusting. I mean, being in woods like this, although these aren't European woods, they are similar, I feel at home here. But I'm sure I would feel a little bit more at home if I was back in Denmark or England. Anyway, I've thought recently, with all these riots and all the media hatred and all the chaos, the controlled chaos, I truly believe that there may come a time when we will indeed have to travel back to our ancestral homeland. I don't know yet, but it is possible that it could happen. Things are really they're really fucked up right now here in America. And I think it's only going to get worse, to tell you the truth. And we may have to travel back, some of us at least. Some who wish to survive may end up possibly having to travel back to Europe. But, thanks to the Kalergi plan, Europe, our ancestral homeland, ours, is being overran by Middle Easterners. And this is all by design. If you haven't figured that out yet, then you're behind the curve. And if you haven't heard of the Kalergi plan, well, you should look into it, because it's what's happening. Now, Wikipedia and all these mainstream sources, they claim that it is a right-wing conspiracy theory. But strangely, I mean, these same media sources, they will talk about how our race is below replacement levels. And I mean, it's happening. We are going to be a minority. And considering a lot of the degenerate filth that many of my own race engage in, how cucked they are, how weak, how pathetic, we already are a minority. Those who are able to think for themselves. But blood and soil is a concept that defines everything. It's our human nature. It's nature itself. Mankind is not above nature. We never have been and we never will be. That's an illusion. We are simply part of nature. And one of these days, I believe that nature will deal with us when she sees fit. So I think a lot of the problems you see, it even goes to mental health issues in an individual, If I had to live in a city like New York or Washington, D.C. or Chicago, if I had to live just several miles away in downtown Chattanooga, I would absolutely hate my life. I would. I would truly despise it. I would be miserable. I grew up in a very rural area, and I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I had to live in one of these concrete jungles. It's truly depressing. And I think possibly, very possibly, sometime in our lifetime, Mother Nature, she will deal with this. She will. All we can do is hope that some of us make it. It may not be in my lifetime, it may be in my future children or grandchildren. Someday, though, it don't matter how far away, she will deal with us. She will right the wrongs. So yeah, blood and soil is a very important concept. I mean, we literally are the soil. You think about it. We came from dust. The food that our mothers had consumed, whether it be crops and vegetables grown in the soil, or the livestock that was raised on the soil, they ate the grass that grows up from the soil. We are literally dust. And if I can find it, I'm going to leave a quote here from Kai Muros. It's a very interesting quote. If I can find it, I will leave it here. If I don't, I apologize. But I think he sums it up perfectly. And when a race becomes divorced from their soil, it tears things up. It's like taking a wolf out of its natural habitat. It's like taking a species of boa constrictor out of Central America and shipping them up to, say, Nova Scotia. The boa constrictor is not going to survive. Send a wolf to from Alaska to, say, the jungle in the Amazon, the wolf will not survive. Man is no different. So get back to your roots. You can do it. Your roots may be weak somewhat, but you can strengthen them by getting in nature and trying to live a more simple life. Thank y'all for watching. Bye-bye.